Hey everybody, welcome to day 5 of Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. I'm Beth Campbell. I'm a career coach and mentor, former corporate captive, now helping you find your work wonderland. If you need somebody to guide you one-on-one through a career or life challenge, send me a message or go to bethannecampbell.com/coach me, all one word. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching live, let me know you're here in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, just give me a hashtag replay. And of course, make sure to let me know if you have any questions or feedback, and I'll address it either at the end of this episode or on a future session. By the way, if my eye starts going a little like wonky, I'm okay. I've got a little gritty eye thing going today, so if I start doing like the crazy eye thing, it's fine. It's just me. So I'll be fine. So, okay, so before we get into today's topic, I just want to do a little promo. If you are open and ready to looking within and changing your mindset in a profound way, there is a free masterclass coming up September 16th through 20th. This is 2024, in case you're watching this a year from now. It's called Master Your Mindset, Master Your Business. This is the masterclass that I took earlier this year. I've talked about it in social media quite a bit. It catapulted my mindset and manifestation really to astronomical levels compared to what they were before. It's about hour and a half a day, so an hour and a half a day commitment for 5 days. Easy peasy. You do not have to be there live. It's a video call and then a little bit of homework, a little bit of mind work. It's not difficult at all, and you will learn so much about how your brain works and how to improve your mental energy, your outlook, and your results. I would not be here today as a coach. I would not be doing lives around career coaching topics if it were not for this masterclass. And you do not have to be a business owner to benefit. Your business is your career. So I'll put a link in the comments after the live, but register, change your life, and then let them know I sent you. I don't get any money or any perk for this. I do it because I believe in it. But if you let them know I sent you, I can help make sure that you get what you need for the class. So change your life today. You'll thank me later. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite corporate pain points to talk about ever, which is Beth, 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 Beth. Well, listen, Beth, 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 Beth. Those difficult characters that we often encounter in the workplace. We have all experienced them. It's the coworker or the boss or sometimes even an executive who in some way, shape, or form is toxic. They can have inflated egos the size of Canada, and they can be downright mean. Sometimes they berate you publicly. They can be passive aggressive. Sometimes they exclude and ghost you. They cut you off over and over. Beth, 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 but listen, Beth, Beth, Beth. Can you tell I've had a person like that? They are the captain of the insecurity ship, and they will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat to save their own ass. There are way too many types of this type of toxic personality to cover in one 15-ish minute live. But if you have a particular scenario that you've encountered, let me know in the comments and I will try to come up with a specific recommendation for you. So it's important to identify and understand this asshat behavior in the wild for several reasons. Number one, they do impact you and your work and sometimes your self-worth. Office asshats can be bullies, and they can cause a great amount of stress on so many levels. You get distracted, fixated, your energy changes, you spend time trying to figure out how to make it go away, etc., etc., etc. Number two, asshats are difficult to deal with because they are so varied. They're so brazen, and sometimes they're really bordering on nut job. They will catch you off guard, like you just don't even know it's coming. They have multiple personalities. One minute they're nice, one it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. They're all different. One is an authoritarian dick. The other one is passive aggressive. One of them is just boldly cruel. Other one uses their power to ghost and exclude you. And sometimes they're above us on the corporate food chain, so we don't know where to turn or who to trust. And three, we don't want to stoop to their level and become an asshat ourselves. So in the workplace, we still need to uphold a level of integrity and professionalism, and we don't want to hold on to that negative energy because it does bring us down. It would be nice to be able to ignore these colossal shitbags. Can you tell that I don't like these people? But sometimes we can't ignore them. And sometimes we, from afar, witness the bad behavior towards others, and our instinct to protect kicks in. That's kind of where I fall, because I don't like bullies. So in future sessions of Get Out of Your Rat Race Rut, I'm going to show you some techniques that you can use on yourself that put you in a better mindset, a stronger mindset to deal with these arses. But for now, let's talk about some practical methods that you can use for some of the negativity without getting nasty yourselves. So one of my favorite personal encounters was when I took over this project that was struggling, was bleeding money and way behind on schedule. I was not the original project manager. So I was trying my best. I didn't create the problem, and I was just being responsible. I was trying to fix the problem. And as part of this project, I had to attend a weekly call that included the senior vice president of finance, because this project was so over budget and overdue. They called in. I had to attend this like elevated meeting. And during one of these calls with a bunch of people, the senior vice president called my project the biggest loser and the albatross in a kind of a mocking way. So go look up albatross if you don't know the meaning. It's from a poem called The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's not a compliment. He was basically saying that this project was a shit show, a big thorn in his side, bad luck, a big mess. Now, this guy was known to be a bit of a jerk, so I wasn't at all surprised, and I'd heard a lot of stories from some of my coworkers about his behavior, which is very snarky and mocking, but this is the first time I'd had to deal with him directly. Now, this is not the worst encounter I have had or heard of, but it'll be a good example for some of the tips I'm going to give you here. So here are some techniques that you can use for those run-ins and those negative encounters. Number 1, silence. Just pause for a bit. If you pause a little long and someone asks you, just say, I'm thinking about what you just said. Silence can be very, very powerful. My husband taught me this. He told me how to use silence to be very effective when you're getting your message across. Number 2, ask them to repeat what they said. So when this senior vice president would say, all right, so now it's time for the biggest loser project, I might say, I'm sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear that. If they're saying something that's inappropriate, now they're going to be on alert. Usually they don't double down. Now they kind of back off. And they also know that you know. You could repeat it for them. Did you just call my project the biggest loser? Again, they're not usually expecting to be confronted directly, so this can be very effective. To getting them to just back down and just to know that you're listening. One of my favorites, and one that women are particularly good at because we're just expected to do this, I play dumb. I'm sorry, what exactly do you mean by the albatross? I'm not following you. And I'll be persistent if they don't want to elaborate. If they start backing down a little bit, like, well, just no. Let me know what you mean. Tell me what you mean. I'm not following you. What does that mean, the albatross? Right? Again, you're letting them know I'm listening to you and I'm on to you. For the person who cuts you off, Beth, listen, just listen, Beth. Just keep talking, but talk softer. Don't stop talking. Just keep talking. A little bit lower, softer of a voice. It doesn't always work, but it often works. If the violation that you're experiencing is egregious, just get up, walk out of the meeting, or if you're on a call, just drop the call. If somebody's being truly mean and bullying, you don't have to put up with that. You don't. You can also use responses that are designed specifically for toxic personalities. So if you go out and you Google responses to narcissistic behavior, you're going to find a ton of great controlled responses. Again, you're getting your message across. You're calling somebody out without stooping to their level. Here's a few examples. Thanks for letting me know your thoughts on my project. I'll consider them. Thank you for voicing your concern, and then you move on. Your attempt to portray my project in a negative light is noted. I'm perceiving your language as whatever, condescending, threatening, mocking. Is that your intent? Again, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes perception comes in. So it's a good thing to ask. I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, can we discuss the business at hand? This is for somebody who makes it just kind of a snarky offhand remark. It's really not relevant. I'm hearing you and you're being stupid. We're moving on. One of my favorites. That comment is not helpful. Your response is noted. And finally, I'm willing to collaborate, but I'm not willing to be yelled at or insulted. And then my final advice is follow up anything contentious or bullying in writing. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So here's what not to do. Don't lose your temper or get defensive. Respond, don't react. If you let yourself get triggered or reactive, you're going to become part of the problem. Don't assume some motive on the other person's part. Don't take it personally. Don't make up stories. It's okay to acknowledge what you perceive and how it made you feel, but don't assign any intent or meaning if you're not 100% sure what that was, and you probably aren't. So just stick to the facts. Don't lose your confidence. You're still a badass. Remember, when somebody crosses the line, especially in a public forum like a meeting, other people do notice. They notice them, and they notice how you respond. So respond with control and confidence like the badass that you are. Don't get lost in the maze, this is where you're triggered and fixated and you can't focus on anything else. And this is, especially if you're blindsided, this can happen where oh God, you just can't even, very common. So Phil Stutz is a psychiatrist. He's an author. He wrote this book called The Tools. He also has used to have a Netflix documentary. I'm not sure if he still does. And he talks about getting stuck in the maze. This is you fixating on something. You can't let it go. It angers you so much you can't move on. And this happens a lot when somebody does something bad to or says something bad to you. You just want to you just can't even move on. But you got to let it go. We're going to have a whole episode on letting go coming up because it is very prevalent in workplace challenges. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to have an activity. It's based on a Stutz tool. It's kind of a thing that I do. I'm sort of beefed it up a little bit, and this is going to help you get out of the maze kind of more in the short term. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. And here's another important thing to remember when somebody is making your life or other people's lives miserable. Log these encounters when they occur. Your memory is going to fade, so do it pretty soon after the occurrence. Just whatever, spreadsheet, Word document, piece of paper, date, time, factually what happened, and who was there to witness it, if any. So if you ever do get caught up into an investigation, maybe you have to report something to HR, maybe there's an investigation that you have to provide, evidence for, or worse, maybe you get some retaliation where you're being put on like a performance improvement plan, at least you have a well-documented paper trail. So log everything. And I personally follow up anything contentious, especially if there's a decision or a statement that you'd agree with an email. Now, I know I'm in the complete minority of people here, but if somebody's going to be a blatant bully in a meeting or on a call, I might call that out in the email just for record. So I might say, after you called my project the biggest loser and laughed, you informed us that we must complete the work by December 18th. I informed you that this timeline was not realistic. You insisted we meet the timeline. So who is available to help with the development so we can meet your requirement? Again, I know a lot of you aren't going to do that. I don't blame you. So it's okay. But you know what, if it's bad enough, you might want to mention it. Bottom line is, if you're dealing with a difficult person, remain in control, don't take it personally, and cover your ass. And the most important thing is somebody behaving badly does not have to ruin your life. Even if they are outright lying, even if it seems like it's the entire culture of the company, you are still in control of your life. You're in control of your attitude, your mood, the outcome, your direction. It might be uncomfortable. There are extreme situations, and I've talked to some of you, and you've experienced worst case scenarios where you might have to think about quitting your job, or you might get fired or laid off or retaliated against. You still have the power to be happy and to decide your future, 100%. I've seen a lot of people that have been derailed by horrible coworkers or bosses or executives, and they're still traumatized by it years later. Words or actions from weak, insecure bullies have ruined lives, but you don't have to let that happen. Those people do not direct your happiness. They really don't. Take charge of your life and your career. You can fight back and you can figure out how to be happier in spite of the jerks of the world. I really believe this. And the more you raise your positive, confident energy, the less those turds will bother you. So there are a lot of situations involving asshats. Everyone's different. We only touched the surface of the iceberg today. If you're caught in an asshole web and you'd like some specific guidance, send me a DM or go to bethannecampbell.com/coachme and let's figure out how to make it better. Okay, I'm going to the comments because I see something coming in here. Stephanie, my favorite girl, Stephanie. Oh, I love it. Bring the tactics that we use with children to the workplace. They have to be quiet to hear us when we whisper instead of yell. Exactly. That's exactly what the talk softer thing is. It is just you just continue talking. You've got the floor. You deserve and are entitled to speak your voice. Be the bigger person. Yeah, true. She says it frustrates the other person. That is just a little added benefit. When you take the high road and they're taking the low road and they know other people are watching, you'd be surprised at how quickly behavior changes, but it also drives them nuts, especially the ones with the big inflated egos. Oh God, they hate it. So am I going to be singing Elsa again today? Let it go, let it go. I don't know the words to the rest of the song, but I'll learn them from my Let It Go episode. So thank you, Stephanie. Well, absolutely. All right. I don't see any other comments or question. Corey Joe Bennett, I loved your comment that others in a meeting will observe both parties and behavior. Yes, that's right. Yeah, when this stuff happens behind closed doors, it's a little trickier. You can still use some of these techniques, but it boggles my mind how many people get so brazen that they would say these things. And my example for me, calling my project The Biggest Loser, I actually laughed. I wasn't on camera. I laughed. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Because they're just like, "You're so ridiculous." Because I knew you're just making a fool of yourself. But I have heard of stories of people experiencing way more like true bullying, berating, and it just boggles my mind how many people do this stuff in the open. And by the way, Senior Vice President, Biggest Loser Albatross, no longer with the company, not by choice. So there you go. There can be karma in the world. All right. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to teach you a version, like I said, mentioned earlier, of this tool that's created by Dr. Phil Stutz. It's called Active Love. Mine's a little bit different and beefed up. And it will help you move on from some of these more intense asshat encounters. Corey Joe says, walk away and let the karma sort that shit out. Hell yeah. All right, don't forget to connect with me here on Facebook or LinkedIn. Thanks for joining Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. You are here because you are a badass. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. See you tomorrow.